Just in case you're not sick to death of the stuff, today is President's Day, which it is February 2015, the 16th. 16th. There it is. Okay. And the time is approximately, it's about 4:30. And guess what? Lovely thing is going on today. It's snowing again. Okay. And may I say that it is ridiculously cold. I mean, off the hook, freeze your butt off cold. And isn't that cute? You see my swing? Those are birds underneath my swing. They are taking refuge. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. I think 4. It's cold. It's cold, cold, cold. And what is a cold day activity? Yes, closing the door, definitely. A cold day activity is this. I'm making soup. Tim went to get some more ingredients. I need some beef broth. I asked him to buy some cabbage. I asked him to buy some baby carrots. I'm going to chop those up. Cabbage, carrots. There's a long list. I don't remember what all was on the list, but I know it was more than 2 things. Beef stock, cabbage, and carrots. And he said no to turnips. He said no to spinach or collard greens, to add those in there. He thought mushrooms would be weird in my soup because there are 3 kinds of beans. Oh, that's another ingredient in here. Right now there's northern beans and black beans, and I said get light red kidney beans, so there'll be 3 different kinds of bean in here. So it's got lots of protein. The meat is Italian sausage, which I browned and took to the sink and put it in a colander, and then I ran hot water over it to rinse out as much oil as I could. And things that I use V8 for the juice, and V8 basically, and whatever kind of stock you want to use, beef stock, chicken stock, is the base. Italian green beans, black beans, all these canned goods you rinse, except for the petite diced tomatoes. You don't rinse those off. But and Great Northern beans, because can't see it, but this can of Great Northern beans has 310 milligrams of sodium. So I dump the salt off and rinse it off really well to get rid of as much salt as possible. Yeah, this one's got 390. This one has only 180 milligrams. The V8's got 140 milligrams. You can get, and I did low sodium V8. Because one thing salt always has in it, and has way too much in it, is salt. What did I say? Did I say salt has too much salt in it? I meant soup. I don't know what I just said. So soup has usually got way too much salt. Like, let's go get a can of soup. Can of soup. Cream of mushroom soup. It has, yeah, 870 milligrams of salt in 1 can. And it says this can holds serving size, so it's about 2.5 servings. Yeah, bad salt. And he was going to have me use bouillon cubes for my broth, but I told him 1 bouillon cube has got 790 milligrams of salt in it. So it's a cube of salt. It's basically all a bouillon cube is a cube of beef flavored salt. Yeah. And, you know, how many bouillon cubes are you going to use? You know, you're going to just use 1? Man, I used to use so many bouillon cubes back when I would make homemade vegetable soup. But I don't know how many quarts that Dutch oven is. I think it's probably 5 quarts, 5.5 quarts. I think most Dutch ovens are. I've got a big, huge, I call it a cauldron. It's so big. And it's probably like 12 quarts, maybe even more. It's just ridiculously big. So, and I used to make vegetable soup in that. And yeah, we'd be eating vegetable soup for days. You know, I'd put like a whole head of broccoli in it, a whole head of cauliflower in it, a whole head of cabbage in it, among other things, you know, 2-3 onions, you know, several pounds of chuck roast. So 1 or 2 huge cans of tomatoes. Yeah. Back in the day, so I had very salty vegetable soup. Okay, but that's the video for today. It's snowing again. I think Tim just come home. I heard a car door. My dogs aren't barking, so I'm probably wrong. What do dogs do on a cold, snowy day? They mope. And they go, oh, it's so cold. Why is it so cold? I hate it being cold. And they sit down in their crates and next to the baseboard heater. You know what? Where's Bo? I guess Tim put him in the crate in the bedroom because I got 2 more crates in there. I hope he's in there, not outside, because it's a bad day for anybody to be outside. You might die. Oh, that's a good pet safety tip. Is if you go outside and you go, it's too cold for me to be outside. Don't put your dog or cats or whatever outside. Bring them in. If it's too cold for you, it's too cold for them. A lot of people goes, well, they're made for outside. They're made to rough out the weather because they have a winter coat. They have a thick coat. Well, dogs have been crossbred and bred, and you know, you have all kinds of different kinds of dogs, shapes of dogs. They call it pedigree, but what they are is inbred dogs. And when you inbreed anything, you breed into it genetic problems. So yeah, your dogs nowadays, unless they're specifically made and bred to be out in the weather, like an Alaskan Husky and sled dogs, they can survive in below 0 temperatures. But they're bred for that. But most dogs, most domestic dogs, house dogs, pets, yeah, they can't handle the bad weather. So severe temperatures, they need to be brought inside. They've been domesticated, and their bodies have been made weak through all the breeding that we do to them. So especially my dogs, they got little tiny thin coats. They're very short legs. They if the snow's very deep at all, they're you know, it's over their head very quickly. So you know, if your dog weighs under 10 pounds, you better carry it outside. Take it to a spot where it's bare ground, where you've cleared it off with a snow shovel, or under a tree where the snow can't get to the ground. You set them down on the ground. Give them about 3 minutes to do their business. If they haven't done their business in 3 minutes, pick them back up, tuck them inside your coat, and carry them back into the house and wait for like a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and take them back outside for another try for 3 minutes until they do their business. Don't say, well, you haven't done your business yet, I'm going to keep you out here. No. If they're under 10 pounds, they will die of hyperthermia very quickly. Think about taking your baby, your infant baby, outside and setting it on the ground and waiting for it to pee. It's not quite exactly the same because infant babies don't have any kind of fur, but it's basically gives you the ideal of just how dangerous it is for your little tiny dog to be outside in the bad weather. Yeah, done preaching. My poor babies. Did you hear Daddy? Did you hear Daddy? Is Tim home? Is Tim home? She hears something. She's looking out the window. Did you hear Daddy? Is Daddy home? I don't think so, baby dog. I think you hear the neighbors. Yeah, I think it's the neighbors.